Welcome back to the King Closer Reacts. I am the King Closer, RJ Bates III, and today we're going to find out if Maximilian Dier is a closer or not. Now, what I have to say about this kid is I like his approach. He joined our free Facebook group, The Vault, recently, and he has done nothing but provide value to the group. He goes in a couple of times a week, very long, detail-oriented posts about what he's doing that succeeds inside of his wholesale operation. He's based out of Dallas-Fort Worth. He claims he's doing 6 figures a month. He's running a 7-figure wholesale operation, which is very impressive. And he's running his own YouTube channel, among other things. I'm sure he has like a Discord and other things that he's got going on. But I have to say, his content has been impressive. He most recently did a reaction video to the King Closer formula. And I had to say, not that there's been a lot of reaction videos to the King Closer formula. Jerry Norton did one, but Maximilian's was on point. I mean, he did a great job of breaking it down. He broke it down in about 25 minutes or so. He had nothing but kind things to say about the formula, and I was very impressed. Because quite frankly, it wasn't just regurgitating the content. He had his own feedback on it and takeaways from it. And I commented on his post and I said, hey, I'd love to do a King Closer Reacts to you closing. And he submitted this. He emailed it to me, this live that he did using Speed to Lead, which you guys know I love Speed to Lead. And he said this is his first time using the King Closer's formula himself with a live seller call. So I'm very excited to see this, because normally when I do King Closer Reacts, it's somebody else's script, somebody else's process. This is someone that downloaded our free PDF, the King Closer formula, and implemented it. And this is the first time he's used it. So I will say in his email that he sent me, my thoughts, good call, but I could have done much better. Not my best work, but it was day one implementing the Closer's formula. Excited to hear the feedback and improve. So Maximilian, I love your attitude, man. You're an asset to the wholesaling community. I'm excited to see your YouTube channel grow. You're doing a great job with the editing, and it just, quite frankly, your content is good, and we need more good content in the wholesaling space. So I'm excited to break this down. Let's get into it. This is a Speed to lead that he just purchased, where we're picking up. Okay, he had been live for about an hour or so, and it's in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. It's actually in Plano, Texas, which is a very hot market, difficult market to close in. So let's get to it. Let's see what we got here. Well, Maximilian.
Hey, is this Michael?
Yep.
Hey, Michael, I was calling about your property on Fresno. Michael, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So are you the owner of the house on Fresno?
Yes, I am.
Oh, cool. Well, you submitted a form online saying that you were open to selling your house.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Get the right price.
Tell me what the right price is.
I was looking for 400.
You're looking for.
All right. So first things first, you guys know that I always say the first thing that you need to do when you're comping and underwriting, go on Google Street View, look around the neighborhood, make sure there's nothing that stands out as to why this would not be a good property for us to go after. Love seeing that he was doing that there right off the bat as soon as the seller answered the phone. Next thing is, I would say I could see how this is a new flow for him. I've never seen him talk to sellers before, so I don't know how he normally sounds. I'm just going to base off of what I'm seeing. He is trying to embrace being the buyer here. You know, hey, I'm calling you about the property on Fresno. You know, I love the fact that when the seller said for the right price, straight out of my playbook. What's the right price? He got a price out of him early on. So we're at 400,000 starting off. Love getting that number out of him. And then I can see, I just heard it right there, right before I click pause, that he's, reiterating that. So 400,000, that's the right price. Love the start and love seeing the action. Love that he's sharing his screen here. More people have asked me, why don't I share my screen more often? Part of it is because YouTube has taken several videos down from live seller calls. So I've just kind of made an executive decision like, hey, the content's too valuable to be sharing the screen. But I love the fact that he is showing his actions as well as the seller call as well.
400. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to pull it up right now. I see that it's 1867 square feet. Is that correct? About?
Yeah.
Okay. Then is it a 3 or a 2 bedroom?
3 bedroom, 2 bathrooms.
Nice. Okay. Cool. I have a property out in Plano too. Is this a rental or is this a primary?
This is we're living here right now.
Oh, okay. You are. Gotcha. So you're just moving out of the area.
Yeah, no, we're actually the 2 bedrooms on the other side of the house is where our kids live, but they have both moved out. So we're empty nesters, and we want to move farther out onto some.
Okay, so first feedback I'm going to give you, Maximilian, is this is why we say, hey, just tell me a little bit about what you got going on. I know this is new to you, but with the assumptive questions that you were asking there, one, the bullet, what I call, like the textbook questions, like, hey, is the square foot 1867? Is it a 3.2? Like, we can get into that later on. But more importantly, you need to understand what he's giving you right now. You just said, how much you looking to get for it? 400,000. Okay, 400,000. Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about what you got going on. Hey, the kids just moved out. We're empty nesters. We're looking to move out of town. Okay, now we're understanding the motivation as to why they're looking to sell. Quite frankly, you don't really need to know the square foot and the bed and bath count right now. You could just kind of look in the area and see, hey, is $400,000 like a discounted price for the neighborhood, or is that retail price? And then see if there's motivation. Because again, if you're referencing and you're using the 4 seller buckets, we have price. Now we need to understand if there's motivation. If there's motivation, then we decipher, is it the right price or the wrong price? And that's how we decide how to navigate the rest of the conversation. That's how you appropriately use the 4 seller bucket. So not terrible, but not really using the closer's formula right now. It's kind of just probably your old script of some sort where it's like, hey, I just want to make sure I've got the facts right. Is this a square foot, bed and bath count? Things that most other people are doing, not really what we do with the closer's formula.
Land, do some other things.
I do too. I'm looking at Arkansas. Where are y'all looking at?
Well, our kids live here, so that's a question that really needs answering,
Yeah, my dad just moved out to the Cedar Creek Lake, my bank, to get some land out there. I like Arkansas. I was looking out in Hot Springs, so I feel you trying to buy some land. Are you getting farm animals? Are you going to grow something?
We would want to grow something. We'd want horses.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My dad moved to Tennessee, and basically we never saw him.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, that's the thing, if your kids live here,
yeah,
and you move, 13 hours away, you're probably not going to see him very often.
Yeah, that's the difficulty for sure.
So what he's showing us there is a quick mathematical equation of 460 ARV times 78% of ARV minus 40,000 repairs equals an MAO of $318,000, right? So that's how he's very quickly coming up with a number. I appreciate him showing that, not necessarily what we do here at Titanium. However, I believe he does a lot of wholesaling specifically in the DFW Metro. So he understands that, hey, if I can get it at 318 or below that, then, or maybe he's saying I could probably wholesale it at 318, so I need to get it less than that. He knows where his buyers buy, which is what we teach, right? Where in buyers buy, that's the most important thing. So he's doing a very quick analysis of this. I mean, not really digging deep. He just knows right off the bat the price is way off, and we're going to need to get him down probably 80, 90 grand from that $400,000 asking price.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. On this house, I mean, is it in condition where you could have, listed it on MLS, or is that the reason why you didn't use a realtor? It just needs some work.
Well, I've been considering selling it since the beginning of the Wuhan flu.
Yeah.
I was actually going to sell it right about then, and then that popped up, and that stopped any movement anywhere, right?
Absolutely.
So, and I'd actually, at that time, that was 2021, we had replaced all the carpets. All the rooms have been painted like a neutral white color. The office where I'm sitting is painted like a gray green on the walls, white on the roof or the ceiling, and we put like what are those Roman blinds in every window, like gray ones to like, because everybody said gray's the thing, right?
Yeah.
But inside the living room, it's like wood panels, and it's a vaulted ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with the master bedroom.
Okay.
So what's happening right here is this is understanding the importance of the questions that you ask and how it's going to dictate the rest of the conversation. What I would have loved to see him ask is, how did you come up with the price of 400,000? When he asked, why are you not looking to list with a realtor and all this? Now it's dictated him now going into this, monologue about the walls and the color of paint and what happened in 2021. And I mean, you could almost see in Max's body language here, it's just kind of like, this is all irrelevant information, right? And so what ends up happening over the course of time is, if we have conversations where, we have 5-minute dialogues of useless information, and we extrapolate that over X amount of calls per day, per week, per month, per year, we're wasting time on that. It can significantly impact the amount of just sellers that we're even able, the bandwidth in which we're able to talk to, because we're wasting time. And so right here, the importance of that decision of the question, right? Because quite frankly, what he needs to understand here is their motivation, and why is this the price that you are asking? Is it because you're just assuming that the market value is 450 or 460 and you're discounting it because of rehab needs? Well, then we educate them and we get them to come down. But right now we're talking about wall colors. And you can see in his body language and probably mine, I mean, we're dying a slow death over here.
So, and that work was done in 2021. The roof was replaced in 2016. And in 2017, I hired a company, Critter Control, to come in and seal everything towards my attic and replace all the insulation. And they did.
I'm about to need to do that on my house in Plano. So I got rats up in the HVAC and the ducting. So I know what you're talking about.
Critter Control came in and
cool.
did all that.
Yeah.
I do like how he's building the credibility as an investor with the fact that he owns a property in Plano. I always do that as well, specifically when we're doing deals in other states, and then they see me calling from a Texas area code. If I've done a deal there, or I've owned a property, or I do own a property, I love building that credibility. So I do like how he keeps pointing back to that, where it's like, hey, I own a property right there in the same city as well.
and they give you a lifetime warranty.
Nice. Okay, so it's structurally in pretty good shape. It's been somewhat cosmetically upgraded. Maybe the bathrooms and the kitchen are out of date or not.
Yeah, I would say the bathrooms and the kitchen still has the that the countertops that are not like granite or marble, right?
Yeah.
And I put in a new oven. It's like a double oven,
Sure.
top and bottom. So it's like that's pretty cool. I replaced like the faucets in the bathrooms, the commodes in the bathrooms.
Yep.
I put a deep jacuzzi tub in the master bathroom. Some people like those, some people don't.
Yep.
And I had an electrician install a 50 amp generator connection on the outside of the garage and put it into my breaker panel. So if there's a power outage, and this house is gas,
Sure.
it heats gas, the water heater is gas. Oh, and we replaced the water heater 2 years ago.
Okay, understood. Okay, yeah. So I mean, structurally, y'all have, and on the majors, y'all have done a lot. I'm here looking at comps. I mean, the property across the street sold at a really good price, but it was fully remodeled, like HGTV. Looks like some person spent a fortune on it. And then the properties that aren't, fully remodeled, they seem to be moving at the low 300s up to the mid 300s. So that's just what I'm seeing on MLS. Does that sort of what you think so too?
Yeah, like the house right, I guess, north of me, which is next to me.
Yeah.
That sold for $425.
Okay.
And they really didn't do very much at all. The house across the street, yeah, I saw them out there like painting the brick all gray and stuff. And the guy put up some like cedar kind of blind things, but they're just on the outside. They don't close or anything.
No, I know. I have the
just for
pictures of the
curb appeal.
inside right now. It looks, yeah. I mean, sure they shot it with paint, but it looks pretty good inside.
And
Oh.
then that house down on Aliso Road,
Yeah.
which is on the corner right there, that sold for $529.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So if he's truly following the closer's formula, which there have been bits and pieces of it, if he's identified that this is a motivated seller and the price is incorrect, what he's trying to do now, I'm hoping this is the path that we're going down, is educate the seller. And the way that we do that is get them to agree to what the after repair value would be. And so right now, I think he's trying to get the seller to agree that, hey, if the property were to be fixed up, it could be worth X amount. Interesting enough, he brought up a property that sold for, I believe he said $425. And I think Maximilian agrees that it's this one that sold for $460. Then he changed the filter to another date to see if we could find that $425, and then it actually popped up a $500,000 comp. So I think this right here is the blueprint property that he's using for the ARV. And if he were to get the seller to agree to an ARV number, then he would need to talk about the rehab needs to achieve that after repair value. I'm hoping that's the path that we're going down right now.
And that looks, I looked at the pictures in there, and that looks pretty good. So right now, I'm still working. My work in my job is in Richardson, but I work from home most of the time.
Yeah.
So I could work from anywhere.
Sure.
Depending on the price I get for this house is when I can move and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for. So
I get you. From an investment standpoint and like just a cash offer, it doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to get it where it makes sense for me to come out of pocket that much in cash. It seems like, if you're going to want your number, you may be better off listing it with an agent or doing something like that to get as much as you possibly can if you're in no rush to sell.
So we're about to get the seller's response. I do like the walk away, right? Embracing no there. Like, hey, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be your fit if that's a hard number. If there's not some underlying motivation, essentially. Do like that. And what essentially he's like saying, hey, I'm either going to end this conversation now. We're not going to try to close something that's not a closable lead, or we're going to see if the seller has an underlying motivation that's going to essentially chase after me. And be like, no, dude, I need to sell this house fast.
But here's the thing. I'm also in constant discussions with my wife back and forth about how quick we want to move. And so, obviously, right now it's December. Christmas is next week. My birthday was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday.
I'm going out. I'm 62, so it's not really happy birthday. The guy I work with, he's 65, and just out of the blue 2 days ago, I guess he dropped. He just had a quadruple bypass. So.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Those kind of things are the things that say, you know what?
That you want to get out.
If the price for my house, then I can start moving on.
Sure. So you're.
All right. One thing I have to say, for every person that is sub 35 years old, okay, I have yet to see one of you young guys deal with death on a seller call well. I'm not saying, Max did anything wrong here. I'm not. It's always uncomfortable, especially when it gets brought up. I mean, how long have we been on the phone with the seller? We've been on the phone for like 9 minutes. It's uncomfortable at times, but just be quiet and sit in that moment and allow the seller to have those emotions. It's important. It's important. I mean, the seller is essentially telling you he's dealing with his mortality, right? He's 62. His buddy that he works with, he's 65, just it sounds like he passed away. If I didn't misunderstand what he was saying there. That's tough, So slow down in that moment and realistically just don't say anything. Don't say anything and then say, man, I'm really sorry to hear that. And take yourself out of the I'm trying to buy your house situation. And it can go a long way because our competition is not good during these moments. I can promise you. But if you are, you're going to be seen as a human, whereas as of right now, you're just a potential house buyer, right? It's tough when we're dealing with that level of emotional motivation. But he just disclosed that the motivation, which was pretty low, just went up to extremely high, and it's on an emotional side. So the next couple of minutes is going to be vitally important on what happens in this conversation.
You're looking to sell, if you got an offer as soon as possible, you would have to do some convincing to the wife. It just, I'll just be completely frank with you. If I'm going to be putting in, if I'm going to have to be remodeling kitchens and bathrooms, it gets pricey, and I haven't even seen the house. I'm happy to come out there and look at it. But I'm going to be probably, closer to the low threes on a cash offer, which maybe that just frankly that just does not work for you.
Okay, so he's giving him a range. I do like the fact that he said the low threes, and he didn't say something like 320, right, or 310. He said low threes. I like that. I would have preferred that the way that he delivered that, instead of saying, I don't know if this will work for you or something, like the disclaimer after the offer, would have preferred that he just say, hey, I don't know if this is going to work for you or not, but as an investor, because I have to remodel the kitchens and the bathrooms, I'm going to be in the low threes. And then stop and pause and live in the silence and let the seller digest the information that you just gave them. He's stopping here. I would have preferred the disclaimer to come before the offer, though.
Yeah, somebody else came out and looked at it. He offered me like 315.
315?
Yeah, and then another guy sent me an offer, a written offer for 350, but that was last April. So still working and dealing with other stuff and followed up on that, but who knows?
Yeah, you never know if they're.
Also had a bunch of other little line items in the contract.
Yeah, that's the thing. You never know if they're.
They would come out,
Yeah.
they'd look at something and say, okay, well, we're gonna have to subtract this.
I know the game way too well. There's a lot of shady people, and until they actually put their non-refundable money or put their earnest money down and close, and it's never a deal. Yeah, and you want to look and make sure they have the proof of funds, make sure they actually are legit. I own some properties up there, but we also have a fund. We're based in Las Colinas, so we own a pretty good amount of homes out of DFW. So, yeah, I mean, if it's something that you're open to, I mean, that's just a range, and it's impossible for me to give you an accurate number without pictures of the inside and walking the house. But I'm going to be probably closer to where that first offer was. It's cash. I can close in about 10 to 14 days. And I'll pay all the closing costs. There won't be any agent fees. So, you get what you get unless you have, back taxes or something on your guys' side. But
what's your name?
My name is Max. Last name is Dier.
And is this your own number? 972-743-9666?
Yeah, this is my work number. So if I don't answer, I'll call you back. I may call you from my cell. But yeah, this is my work number. Our company's RFP Homes. So you can check us out, RFP Homes.
What was your last name?
Dier, D-I-E-R.
Okay. Let me talk to the wife. I get so many calls.
I'm sure you do.
This is my work number too.
Yeah.
Tell them to call my personal phone number.
For sure. I mean, yeah, if you want to give me that, then I can message you on your personal.
Yeah, 972.
Solid YouTube strategy there with muting on the seller's cell phone number.
Today in the middle of the day, and I'm like, look, I can't talk right now. I'm at work. And then they're like, for a while, I just got besieged by so many people. I just started hitting go to messages, right?
Yeah.
But right now, her and I are getting much more ready to be out of here and on. And so.
I feel you. If I didn't start this company, we started this company a couple years ago, I would have been long gone in Arkansas with a farm of pigs. So I know where you're coming from. But yeah, it's, buying land it's life-changing. That's all I want. But yeah, I mean, if you want, I mean, I'm happy. There's a lot of shady people in this business. He's got to be careful. So I'm happy to meet you in person. I live in Richardson, so I'm really not far. And we can always meet up for lunch. We can talk. We can go walk the property. I can show you proof of funds. We do business the right way.
Right on.
Okay. Now, can I just confirm that phone number you gave me just to make sure I have it right?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, wonderful. Do you have any other questions for me, before I jump off, and then maybe when I should be following up with you after the holidays, now, you can go talk to the wife?
After the holidays, I'll talk to them. I'll probably call you early next week, but we wouldn't really be doing anything to get rid of it until probably like January or February, right?
No, yeah, I get you. It would take us a little bit of time to close and everything, but if I was able to send you out an offer, is this something that you would sign and then we just close later, or are you not ready to sign yet?
So let me put it this way.
Sure.
In order for me to move on, I would need the money I get from this property.
I get you, yeah.
Because I don't want to purchase anything with a payment.
Uh-huh.
Next year with the interest rates like they are.
Yeah.
And my 30-year mortgage is at like 3%.
Oh, it is. Wow.
Yeah. So the incentive for me to sell would be if somebody came and made me an awesome offer, and I'd be like, okay, I'll be out tomorrow. Just have all my shit.
Then where would you go?
If you had enough money, you wouldn't need it. You'd to go over and take the fifth wheel, park it in Farmersville.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
I got that Starlink antenna.
Oh, you do? You got Starlink?
I work remotely from that. And when I go camping, I use that in the trailer. And I think it's like 300 megabits downloaded, and you could go anywhere.
Dude, that's the best
Galveston
too.
Island
Yeah.
State Park to like Colorado, as long as you can face it north. And
So he's done a really good job of like keeping the conversation moving along. Because it got to a point there where it felt like the conversation's dead. We're end up in the follow-up zone where, hey, do you want me to call you after the holidays, or what do we want to do here? You're going to talk to the wife. I mean, it's like, what is he going to go talk to the wife about selling the house during Christmas Eve? It's like, man, this gets, far-fetched. But he's done a really good job of keeping the conversation going. He's now also uncovering even more motivation from the seller. So I'd really like to see him hammer down either something specific here of like, let me come out and walk the property on this day. Maybe let's set up a call between him and his wife, like something that is tangible that we can take away from this call. It's like, all right, there was a small, maybe it's not the close, but at least there's a small victory here instead of, hey, we elongated the conversation for another 10 minutes, but we still just ended up back in the follow-up zone.
My phone talks over the internet as well. So a lot of the stuff I do, I just do from a phone, or I dial in and fix people's telecom equipment, or phone companies, or cell phone towers. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, when you said that you have that mortgage for 3%, I mean, that's such a great mortgage, and I get it, how hard it is to walk away from those. You probably, did you refinance in 2021?
Yeah, I refinanced. Get exactly when.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm showing up here that it was originally for 200,000. You have about $180,000 left on that loan. So, if you sold for, in the low threes, you'd be walking away with a little bit over 120,000. I mean, does that work for your situation?
Let me talk to my wife for a little bit.
Sure. I'm just trying to understand, because I want to make sure you have enough money to go and buy that land and that house that you want.
Yeah, so that's another thing we're looking for, is actually the land.
Yeah.
My wife works at a rescue barn.
Sure.
And we were looking for land towards there for the longest time.
Yeah.
People just love that land. It's really dear to them. It's like $20,000 an acre for just dirt. No trees.
Where is this at?
Farmersville.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's just dirt.
Yeah.
They don't have like utilities up to the curb or anything. There's just, you're buying for dirt for $20,000.
Wow.
It's crazy. So yeah. So you have to go really far out to get a decent deal.
I know. It gets pricey.
Whatever you do here in Texas, you don't get like nice trees and streams or anything, right? Most of it's just dirt. So that's another problem, right? If you went right north of us is Oklahoma, right?
Yep.
They have some much better land up there. It's still just red dirt.
That's why I'm looking at Arkansas. I love it there. It's Hot Springs and Fayetteville are some of the most gorgeous places on earth.
We've been camping there, so yeah. And the hill country in Texas is really nice.
Yeah, it's just expensive.
Yeah.
That's where they get you. It's been bought up by some Californians.
Yeah. Well, the house prices are going up around here too. The Californians came here and they moved that the Toyota.
Yep.
Headquarters up into Plano there. In fact, my son got a job over there after he got his master's degree from UNT, and he works in their statistics department.
Sure.
And he says their campus is like a square mile.
Whoa.
He said when he could go down for a walk, he said, I got lost once.
All right. So now at this point in the conversation, this is a lot of back and forth. Some might refer to this as rapport building. to me, I'm a little bit concerned as to I think we already have our answer, right? He's already told him low threes. He's got to talk to his wife. Maybe this is making the seller feel more comfortable, but we're definitely not talking about him buying the house anymore. So it's kind of like we're in the friend zone. I am very curious now just watching this, and this is the first time I've watched Max. I don't know where he's going to take this. Like, I don't know what he's going to try to pull off. Like, I legitimately don't know if this is just literally to have a follow-up, if this is maybe he normally does a call to an appointment, if he's going to try to get an appointment, or if we don't know where this is going, because this is it sounded like the conversation was over 10 minutes ago, and he revived it, but I don't know what the purpose was.
So that's a lot of land in Plano. But
That's crazy.
and I've got to help somebody out.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there was just one more thing I just wanted to mention. One other possibility, which I've done very, very often, was when someone has a really great rate like yourself. And I mean, honestly, you should benefit from being smart enough to refinance in 2021. What I do is I come in and just actually take over your existing mortgage. Because if I was to go and buy a house right now, I'd have to pay 7 or 8%. So it benefits me to get your 3% loan. And then in return, I'm able to give you a little bit more cash because I'm getting such a good rate. So maybe that's something else that we can discuss.
So really like how he explained sub 2 there. However, I'm a little bit curious as to why he's pitching it, because if he owes 180 and he's saying, I'm going to give you even more. So by more, he's already pitched low three. So he's talking about 120 grand, and he's saying more. So we're talking about somewhere in the range of 130 to 140,000. It's a lot of cash. So either cash to give, it's too much for a down payment on a wrap. I guess I'm not understanding what would be the benefit. That's a high entry fee. So I don't quite understand the play there. I normally wouldn't make the sub 2 pitch when there's that much, unless he's going to ask the seller to finance it, but that's not what the seller needs. The seller needs that cash. Now he's saying he has a fund, so maybe he has those funds available, and he doesn't have a problem with that because he just wants to capture that 3% interest rate, which you saw on the mortgage calculator. It's like $843 a month. That could be pretty beneficial because I'm assuming the rent rate in Plano is going to be pretty high. Now, he did that off of the principal amount, but taxes in Collin County, which is where Plano is, are going to be pretty high. So even as a rental, just with property taxes alone, it still might kill the deal and not really cash flow that much. So still, I'm not understanding necessarily the exit strategy or why he's making this offer, but this now explains why he wanted to elongate the conversation, gather more information. Now he's going to go the creative route and at least pitch that to the seller and put that bug in his ear.
Yeah, let me
I can
look at the numbers, talk to the missus, call you back.
Okay, because I mean, I would, I mean, I really, yeah, I mean, we can make something work like that as well. So yeah, I mean, if you just want to, circle back with me, I got your number, you got my number, and I'm a lot more old school. So if you want to meet in person, I'm happy to do that as well. We're only a few minutes
Yeah, my
apart.
interest rate actually says 2.875%.
That's your rate? Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I mean, you have a great rate.
Because they sold my mortgage to these guys called Mr. Cooper.
Sure, yeah, I know them.
And you know what? That was really weird because I got this letter from like Mr. Cooper. I'm like, are you a real company?
Yeah.
Who named you that?
Mr. Cooper.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, just let me know what the wife says and where we could be. I mean, I can I'm at that route. I mean, it really depends on condition, but I think I'm sitting around that, probably, it's hard to say without seeing the house, but around that 315 mark. No contingencies, close whenever you guys are ready. We can wait a little bit. That's more of where I'm at.
Okay, I'm like always just like right on the edge of doing something, and I'm hoping that somebody will like give me a better offer, but I don't know. A lot of people are kind of like hovering around where you are,
Sure.
or up to the 350 rate. But if somebody gave me 350 or something, or 375, that would probably be the best I could get.
Yeah, and I
but
get it. It just doesn't pencil for an investor like myself when
yeah.
we're going to be putting in. And again, I don't know exactly, but I would imagine redoing some kitchens and bathrooms and the structural work is going to be, maybe at least 40 grand. I mean, stuff doesn't go far anymore. Money doesn't go far. And then I have holding costs. The taxes here are brutal. And then I have to, pay the agents 6% on the sell. I'm going to cover all the closing costs. I just had to pay closing costs. It was over 2%, and I'm going to have to pay that twice. So, the money just starts to wipe away, where if I were to sell this, I'm probably going to walk away with a very modest profit. Not much at all for probably 3, 4, 5, 6 months of work, but I'm just trying to keep my team busy, and I love the area.
Okay, so great explanation. Probably the best moment of the call so far. However, it comes far too late in the conversation for my liking. I would have loved for him to give that exact same explanation before he made that low $300,000 offer. So when we identify in the 4 seller buckets that this is a highly motivated seller, but the price is incorrect, get them to agree to the ARV, get them to agree to the amount of rehab, and then say, if the house is going to be worth this much, I'm going to have to put this much into it, and then I'm going to have the holding costs and the closing costs, and I'm going to pay realtor commissions, and I want to make profit, a modest profit, right? All of that explanation that you just gave, it was picture perfect. Loved it. I just would have preferred it to be earlier. And quite frankly, I think a lot of what we're this part of the conversation that we're now having could have happened like 10, 12 minutes ago. And so this also goes back to the efficiency of your calls, your whole team, your whole organization. Man, he's really kind of talked himself into potentially being able to land this deal. And he just a great explanation right when the seller said, I'm on the tip of making a decision. Just wish I could get that 350. Great education as to why 350 is never going to happen. See how the seller responds.
Yeah, it's getting really densely populated.
It is. And it's also a tough time of year too. I mean, just to be frank. So, if this was the summer, it would maybe be a little bit more activity, but right now it's just really slow.
Okay. Well, I need to get back to work. And
sure.
Appreciate talking to you.
All right. Sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Interesting. It went from a crappy call where we had nothing going to one where we're close to locking it up. So guys, you might be thinking, Max, why didn't you just make him sign the contract? Well, him and his wife are on title. So him just signing the contract doesn't make it valid.
Solid point. Here's my feedback on that. Just that last part that he said. I don't know what the end result of that call was. There were several things discussed in regards to, I'll call you back. We could go to lunch together. I could come walk the property. I would have definitely stopped him right there at the end when he said, hey, I got to get back to work. It's good talking to you. I would have said, hey, can we listen? I'm serious. I've got money that I want to give you for the house, but I need to know specifically, like, is it going to be you want me to call you on December 26th, January 2nd? Like, what day do you want to talk? Do you want to schedule a time for me to come out to the house and meet both you and your wife? Like, let's come to some sort of resolution, because now we're in the follow-up zone where, he or, Max or his team now has to be consistently following up with that guy who says he gets calls all the time, right? And it's about this very vague offer that Max made or offers. And it's all just based off the fact that, you know, this seller is going to go talk to his wife. When? We don't know. So that being said, first, Max, I do appreciate the certain aspects of the closer formula that you used in it. I do think you would benefit by diving deeper into it and using more. That could have been a more efficient phone call. You are naturally just really good on the phones, which is a good thing and it's also a bad thing, right? This is like when you see a just a naturally gifted quarterback, right? And then they struggle with their footwork sometimes, and when they get to the top levels, right? It's like, hey, how does someone with such great talent struggle? I'm not saying you're struggling. I'm just saying there's still like a percent of deals that you might be missing out on that we really have to dive into a little bit and say, hey, this is how we can take you to a whole nother level. And if this is you, then you have your team, which is going to be, you know, a percent of what you are, right? I guess the saying is in the entrepreneur world, like, hey, if you're sitting in a seat, if you hire someone as an employee, if they can be 70% as efficient or as good as you, then you're winning, right? So from this perspective, I would like to see some things tightened up, and I less relying so much on your natural talent there. The other feedback that I would say, you know, listen, I got the gray wisdom coming in the beard, so I find myself saying this more often than I thought I would ever say, but I could sense a little bit of your age, the fact that you're young, on the call every now and then, you know, with the lack of patience a little bit. There was the death with the friend, the coworker, that moment, a little bit of lack of empathy, a little bit of lack of listening at times. But overall, man, I thought you're obviously a closer. I mean, you're closing deals all over the Metroplex. And you know how to get the deals across the finish line. The key here is that a closer is closing all the leads that are supposed to be closed, and we don't ever miss out on the ones that are closable. And in this scenario, what I saw was that you are clearly able to close all of the ones that are the laydown leads, right? You don't get in your own way. You're naturally good enough to close all of those. You're probably closing the majority of the ones that take work, right? The ones where you have to educate a seller. That what you did there at the end, that comes from reps, you know, the explaining the holding costs and the closing costs. It also comes from real life experience of you closing and owning real estate, right? However, I do think there's probably a small percent, okay, this is nitpicky, of deals that you might be missing out on. And listen, I'm very hard on this. I'm hard on this with people inside Titanium University. I'm hard on this on myself when I go back and I listen to me talk to sellers, because listen, it's not like I'm perfect, right? In the moment, we make decisions, split second decisions on the path that we take this conversations, the questions that we ask. I do think there's probably just a small percent of deals that you're missing out on because of some of the things that you're not implementing yet, right? And I've gone over that throughout this video. That being said, man, I appreciate all the value that you've brought to not only my community, the Vault, but also just on your YouTube channel with the content that you've created. I know how much work goes into that. You're doing a great job. I appreciate you putting out not only just content for the wholesale world, but doing things the right way. Like you said there's a lot of shady people in this business. I appreciate you not being one of those. I appreciate you being one of the good ones that does things the right way and constantly just trying to help people grow. So it's Maximilian Dier. I think I called him Dier earlier. Listen, I only found one video where you said your name. That's my other feedback. Say your name more often, brother. You got a hard one to figure out how to pronounce. We were here walking around the office trying to figure out how to say your name. But Maximilian Dier, is he a closer? Absolutely. Appreciate you, brother. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Give us a like, and we'll see you next time on The King Closer Reacts.